Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and today I'm reviewing Goosebumps. No, not the original book series from the 90s that I grew up reading. No, not the TV series from the 90s that I grew up watching. No, not the first season that aired on Disney Plus slash Hulu last year that kind of shook things up and went more these scary stories to tell in the dark movie anthology route than the original Goosebumps series. I'm talking about season two, Goosebumps The Vanishing, which, much like American Horror Story, goes the anthology route of it's a season long story, but it is its own independent story unique from the first season, so it kind of works as a standalone.
Are you okay? Who knows how kids get these ideas? Too many horror shows on TV, I say.
I'm very torn because on the one hand, I could be all like film snob and be like, "Oh, this series is very derivative." Because I mean, let's face it, it is. It's Invasion of the Christine, Blob, Andromeda Strain, Body Snatchers. That being said, I have to look at who it's aimed for. And I feel like the target demographic of this series, it's not necessarily diehard horror fans like me that want everything to be either Nosferatu or Terrifier. It's aimed at young people, it's aimed at teens to try to get them into horror. And if it does that,
I see this as an absolute win.
we open up in New York City. I was kind of disappointed because it starts in 1994. I'm like, oh, cool, it's going to be 90s. That's just the flashback scenes. The main story takes place modern day. And we have this mysterious thing happening at Camp Nightmare, and we have this mystery of a disappearing teenagers that kind of haunts those who survived it forever. Fast forward to the present, and we have none other than Ross himself, David Schwimmer. I'm gonna call him Ross in this video, not because I can't disassociate and I can't separate Ross from David Schwimmer, but because his character's basically Ross. I know he's not a paleontologist, but he's a botanist, so he's still some type of scientist. He's divorced. He even makes a joke about how, oh, can't divorce your mom again. Well, on Friends you did. And I feel like his character is basically the version of Ross where Rachel didn't get off the plane.
On, miss, isn't there any way that you can just let me off the...
No! No! Oh my God! Did she get off the plane? Did she get off the plane?
I got off the plane.
He has twin teenage children, Cece and Devin. They're coming to stay with him for the summer while their aunt is getting brain surgery, something they reference quite a bit, but we don't ever see or hear anything else about it. And they kind of get at the heart of this mystery. Weird stuff starts happening with these like alien pod people and venom like in terms of like this like black goo that's sort of a symbiote that once it gets into you it controls you. And all in all, and I'm going to keep this very spoiler free because I do encourage people to check it out. All in all, I like story wise what it did. It was genuinely interesting, and I liked that in a departure from the first season, it doesn't really go supernatural. It goes more sci-fi horror, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was a really welcome change of pace and just something new and different. My issues with the first season of this series, of the newer Goosebumps, I felt like the first season just it went for the greatest hits. Like, of course they went for Slappy. Of course, they went for the supernatural and the ghosts and all that. And then again, not getting into spoilers, that season it had its like fake out ending and then its real ending. But I feel like the fake out ending happened too early, and this one, The Vanishing, I think really nails it. It gets it right without again. I'm gonna take a drink every time I say without getting into spoilers. Without getting into spoilers, it still does that kind of fake out where like you think it's over, but there's still like one more thing to solve. But it makes more sense here, and it doesn't like it's an extra 20 minutes that feels like a proper finale for a series that's been going for 8 episodes, and it kind of wraps everything up really nice and neat. As far as the teenage characters go, look, I'm at the point in my life that I'm obviously relating more to Ross, or David Schwimmer's character. His name is Anthony, okay? I know his character's name. So on paper, obviously I relate more to him. I'm a father myself. But the teenage characters, I thought they did a really good job of them. Any series like this that's, young adult aimed at that audience, you do have to have the quote unquote CW teen drama. And I like that Goosebumps keeps it to a minimum. It keeps the mystery and intrigue and the horror aspects front and center. Yes, we have like the relationship drama. We have a little bit of like the will they, won't they with this couple and this couple. But it never really feels like it's coming at the expense of the story or the plot, which keeps on moving. And then just as a fan of, sci-fi horror, I thought it was really interesting. And again, I can sit here and be like, "Oh, well, you know, that's Andromeda Strain. That's the Blob. That's this." There's even a little bit of Stranger Things in there. But again, I have to look at, who are they aiming at? What's their goal? What's the series objective? Its objective was to be an entertaining sci-fi horror teen mystery, uh, you know, mini series or one-off season of an anthology TV show. I think it does a really good job with that. I think that young people will probably be into it, but I would even recommend it to my like friends that are into horror, but more so like the casual horror fans, not the sick freaks like me that want to be disturbed. So I really enjoyed Goosebumps: The Vanishing for what it is. I was entertained the whole time. Again, it's a horror sci-fi mystery, but it's also really funny, and not in like the cheesy, like Nickelodeon Disney Channel cringe type of punchline. But look, David Schwimmer was famously on, one of the most popular sitcoms of all time. He still has his comedic timing, and his character's own awkwardness, I think, works for it. It throws in a joke here or two just to kind of ease up the tension, and I don't think it ever takes away from the tension. So it's a fun show. I'm glad I watched it. It's I mean, right now it's my favorite horror show of 2025. Again, it's the first one I'm watching and reviewing. At the end of the year, when I do my best horror shows of the year, it if this show is on it, it means that there wasn't a lot of other really good ones to choose from. And if it's not on it, it doesn't mean I didn't like it. It just means that the other ones that I did put on the list were kind of aimed more at me. But hey, these are just my thoughts. This is just my rant. This is just my review. I'd love to know what you thought of Goosebumps Season 2, The Vanishing, currently streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. Let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy it? What other, you know, classic horror sci-fi movies did you see it, referencing? And again, at this point, it's really more. They're not ripping it off. It is really more of an homage. Like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may end up getting trapped in a weird pod and spending a long time, like decades, in there. And as always, every day is Halloween.